Hi, good evening. I just want to thank you so much for coming out to our fourth grade parent night. We loved hosting your kids today, and hopefully they said some good things about all they got to do with our current fifth grade class and the recess they had and the lunch and all that they learned. And hopefully that was a positive experience so far. My name is Justin Woodford. I'm the associate principal here at Parker Middle School. Just to kind of give you a little introduction to myself, I'm originally from Girard. Graduated and grew up in Girard, went to Edinburgh University, and then I spent 6 years in West Virginia, 4 years as a social studies teacher at the high school level, and then 2 years as an elementary principal before I transitioned back here to Parker Middle School, or back here. Right now, this is my first year, but my third year as a principal. It's been a great year. It's been a learning year for me, and I'll just put your minds at ease. The fifth grade team of teachers that you met tonight by far are the best group of teachers that we have here at Parker Middle School. You're welcome. I've worked with them very closely this year in a lot of endeavors as we've took on some new initiatives, and the love that they have for the kids and teaching is phenomenal. So your kids will definitely be in good hands as they transition. So I wanted to start just with some introductions. Our principal is Jason Buto, and he is actually with our 7th grade class on the Kennywood field trip today. So he's been enjoying the sunshine all the way down in Pittsburgh. We have 2 guidance counselors. The one in the back is Mr. Simmons, Mike Simmons. He is our career counselor. He'll be teaching a future focus class to all of your kids in the fall. And then Pam Swansinger is our other guidance counselor as well. As far as introductions for our teachers, you've met some of them, but I'll go ahead and announce them, and they're standing in the back, and they can just give a little wave. Our first one is our newest teacher. She just was hired last week. She's going to be replacing Denise Backage. It's Laura Barberini. She has 14 years of experience and is coming to us from Corey, so we're excited to have her. She wanted to get out and see and meet teachers and meet all you guys as well. Tiffany Brooks is the other teacher. She just recently had a baby. She's a language arts teacher, and I'll explain a little bit more about schedules. And she's not here. She's not here tonight. As far as the white team, Mrs. Zafaropoulos teaches math, and then Ms. Stonis is the language arts teacher. So the way the teams work, if they have Mrs. Barberini, they're also going to have Mrs. Brooks, and if they have Mrs. Z, they're also going to have Ms. Stonis. That's the way that works. All students have science and social studies. The science teacher is Mrs. Lori Santos, right there in the middle, and then social studies teacher is Mrs. Nicole Chabot. And then our learning support teacher is Ms. Casey Shee. She works exclusively with our red team with Mrs. Barberini and Mrs. Brooks. So just some introductions. As far as staying connected, the best place that you can do that is our website, which you can see up on the screen. We post all of our announcements, our calendar, supply lists. Everything that you could possibly need is going to be on that website, and it's updated daily. We also have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account, all under General McLean School District, and that's kept updated by our district office as well. This is what our school website looks like, and you can see some arrows pointing to some things. I know it's probably hard to see in the back. On the left-hand side, you'll see announcements and supply lists. So you can access that supply list at any point, as far as when you do some shopping in the summertime to get ready for the new year. All the supplies that your child will need will be posted right there. If you want a hard copy, you can stop by anytime in the summertime, and we'll have those available as well. On the right side, we have our student handbook, our calendar. If you want a parent-teacher conference, when those come around, that will be on there. A parent login for Schoology, the lunch menu, and some other things will be on the right side. As far as grades and assignments, we use PowerSchool for all grades, so you'll have an ability to access that. And then Schoology is an online assignment portal where the kids will be able to do assignments, submit them to be graded, and so forth. There are online tutorials that will be available to help you, and it's actually going to be on the right side. If I go back to that page there, at the very bottom of the corner, we'll actually walk you through a video that Jason Buto recorded, and it will show you how to set all that up. So that's all on the website. In the fall, there'll be instructions, there'll be information on how to access all that. So some important things. If this is your first child in middle school, this is going to be a difficult 4 years. There's no doubt about that. So just some tips and some things that we've learned working with middle school children over the years. The biggest thing is communication. Don't hesitate to reach out to Jason or myself if there's issues. Don't hesitate to reach out to the teachers, the guidance counselors. We are here anytime that you need us. Don't ever hesitate. It's encouraged, and we just ask that you be intentional about it. If you have a question, don't be afraid to ask. If you have a complaint, don't be afraid to voice it. We want to know that because we ultimately want to make sure that this school is the best it can be each and every day for your child. As far as a teacher, the best way to communicate with them is through the agenda book. So you can just jot a quick note in there. They'll see it. They can respond right then and there. If it's something that's more detailed, that's more extensive, you can just shoot them an email, and they're great about getting back to you right away, usually by the end of the day or the beginning of the following day. We usually ask that if there is an issue with a teacher, you go to them first. You try to figure out, what's the problem with that teacher and what's going on with your child. And if at that point it still hasn't been resolved, you can ask to speak with myself or with Jason, and then we can take it from there as well. But the best line is to always reach out to them first. The big one is independence, and the kids will really start to want more of that. And finding that level of appropriate level of independence can be difficult. And it's going to really greatly increase their chance for a successful middle school experience. So we want to make sure that we develop that independence in the students. They will be very independent here. It's still very structured, and we try to give them as much of a routine as possible, but they are going to have that independence as well. So it's a matter of just knowing your child and when to give them that independence. So the biggest thing that we say is just avoid overparenting, and just kind of let them find and discover things on their own as well. The big one next is something that I've dealt with extensively this year, and something that has been very troubling for me to see some of what's going on, and that's online safety. So there's just some ideas up on the screen that you can see, and you can blame Mr. Vito or myself for any of this if you want to. Social media, especially Instagram and Snapchat, has really exploded at a very young age, and that's really been a big challenge, especially Snapchat, as things come and can disappear, and some of the cyberbullying and issues that go on, and the inappropriateness of what's happening. So the biggest thing that we ask is you really keep a close eye on that. I've had to make a lot of phone calls and to parents and say, this is what's been going on, and the parents have no idea. So really, it's vital that you keep track of that. You view it often, daily, just to make sure the kids are not accessing or sending things that they shouldn't be. Our mission statement is meeting students where they are to empower them to become all their being. You've seen it, we've heard it, I'm sure, at the elementary level, and that's something we really strive to do here at Parkland Middle School. Up on the screen now is what we call an academic intervention plan. This is in our student handbook, and what this is, I'm not going to go in great length at it, but we have a plan that if students are struggling, we have a system in place to make sure that we identify that early, and we provide the necessary steps to make sure that they're being successful during the school day. We have different phases, 5 different phases total. Our first phase would involve a lot of teacher and parent communication as far as what the struggle is, and the teachers are great about identifying. If they see a struggle right away, they're going to let you know. As far as if it's just them not doing homework, or they're just struggling with reading or something like that, they're going to make you aware. Phase 2 is going to involve our guidance counselors, and then phase 3 through 5 will involve the administration as well. And it's really a team effort as we identify if students are struggling somewhere. We want to make sure that we're giving them the necessary tools to be successful, especially now as we prepare them for middle school and high school and beyond. I think next thing that you see is a similar chart, and that's our behavioral intervention plan. And this is something I'll just throwing up there, but it's something that's probably going to go through a major overhaul this summer as we align some different things in how we handle behaviors and putting really a big focus on the positive aspect. But similar to the academic side, the behavioral side also has tiers. A level 1, or tier 1 is more of a classroom level, teacher handling it, and then tiers 2 and 3 would be more of the student support and administrative levels. We have 3 school-wide expectations, which I know Ed and Laura McCain both stress these things through their positive behavior systems, but it's be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. This year, one of the big initiatives that the 5th grade team took on was implementing a positive behavior intervention and support system. or commonly known as PBIS. Typically, that's a school-wide system, but we chose to do just with our 5th grade team this year. And we just noticed that the students, with that independence that we talked about, they just were struggling with knowing what was expected of them in the hallway, in the cafeteria, in the restroom. And we went back and we actually taught them the expectations. This is how you should walk in the hallway. Your hands and your feet should be to yourself. And going through all those expected behaviors with them, and just practicing it, because we felt like as they came to middle school, we gave them independence. They went too far. So we kind of brought them back mid-year, and we've seen a dramatic change in the behaviors and what was happening with our 5th grade group. So as part of that positive behavior system, we really focused on a positive environment, positive culture, improving the overall school climate, and really recognizing what the students are doing right. I love discipline, but I hate discipline. The last thing I want to do is make a parent phone call because a kid made a big mistake or something major happened. I want to really be out there and just recognizing that positive, as do the teachers. So we've built in rewards and incentives that we provide to the students for consistently meeting the expectations that we've set forth. We're very deliberate about how those are expressed, but they also know that there are consequences if they choose not to follow those expectations. And we simply go through and we reteach that behavior. And if they're not walking on the right in the hallway, we will walk and we will show them how to walk on the right in the hallway. We just look at those respect, that responsibility, and that safety each and every day. So as talking about our discipline charge, that's why I said it may end up changing. It will end up changing as we put more of a focus on a positive environment here at Parker Middle School. Up on the screen now, you see the behavior expectations. And that's the chart that our 5th grade team developed and we went through. You would have seen it posted in different areas as you went on your tour. And it's just very direct expectations in each of our common areas. The kids see it, we're reminded of it often. And this is something that day one next year they're going to be presented with. And we're going to teach them and go through. This is what we expect from a Parker Middle School student. I've heard a lot of questions about this next topic. So I want to just go ahead and clear some things up so you know. On the red handout that you got, on the very back there is a sample schedule. So if you want to turn to that real quick. What you'll see is this is what a typical 5th grade schedule will look like. Block 1 is what we call exploratories. And exploratories are not electives. We feel that it's very important for students to have a wide variety of experiences in middle school, to find something that they like, that they enjoy. So they have a variety of exploratories that they will be assigned to throughout middle school. We try very hard over the course of the middle school to make sure that they're exposed to all of those areas. So that every student has tech ed, has art, has family living, has music. That way they can kind of see all of what is out there. And then, if they choose that they like music and want to try chorus, they have that opportunity. You see chorus and band are classes that will take on student request, but everything else is just randomly assigned based on the availability. And like I said, we really go through all 700 students, and if we see that the student has had tech ed in 5th and 6th grade, we'll make sure they don't have tech ed in 7th grade. If you see that that's an issue, you can let us know if you see that would happen again. But we really try hard to make sure that the kids are getting experience in all of those areas. Blocks 2, 3, and 4 are their core classes. They have math and language arts every single day, and then they will have science on one day and social studies on another. We operate on a day 1 and day 2 schedule. So day 1 they might have science, then day 2 they have social studies. Exploratories, going back to that, they switch at the semester. They have PE all year long, but all their other exploratories will change at the semester. The big one is we don't take requests for students to be in class with a friend or to have a specific teacher. It's challenging enough for 2 people to schedule all 700 students in the summer. And if we incorporate 700 parent requests, that becomes a very daunting task that we never get accomplished. If you have something that's really extenuating, don't hesitate to reach out to us, but we don't take requests. On the other side of that handout, you will see just a lot of general information about communication, class list postings, lunches, supplies, dates, camp fish, locks, and transportation. If you have any questions at all after the presentation, don't hesitate to come up and ask, and I'll be glad to answer those. I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Simmons. He's just going to talk a couple things about bullying and our student assistance.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of the 5th grade team, I'd like to say thank you for coming out tonight. I know for some of you it's hard to do. The sun's out, it's warm, finally, and we really appreciate coming because really when you come and get as much information as we can give you, that'll help you out for next year. Mr. Woodford asked me to talk about 3 things to know about bullying and student assistance. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about bullying. Actually, I'm going to knock off one of those fingers next year to remind me. I have 2 things to talk about, bullying and student assistance. First of all, we're going to talk about bullying. When I went down to the elementary school last week, which I did, I went down to your students' classrooms at the elementary schools, showed them a video, talked about what elementary school or middle school is like. Then I opened up for questions and answers. They always ask me, Mr. Simmons, do kids get stuffed in lockers at the middle school? Tell them no, they do not get stuffed in lockers, never happens. They said, do teachers give us detention every night? No, it does not happen. Our teachers do not give out detention every night. One of the questions they always ask me, though, or they always ask me, Mr. Simmons, are there bullies at the middle school? And that's a concern of theirs. And I tell them, I say, well, here's the situation. Are there bullies at the elementary school? And they say, yeah, there are. And I said, unfortunately, all those bullies move up with you to the middle school when you move up. They don't stay behind the elementary, they move up with you. So if you have bullies at the elementary school, they're going to follow you up to the middle school. But one thing that I always tell them, and I'll sincerely express to you tonight, is if your child's being bullied at the middle school, let somebody know. The other day I was just talking to a girl, and she said, Mr. Simmons, I'm getting bullied. I said, okay, who are the kids? And she told me what's going on. And I said, well, how long has this been going on? All year long. All year long, and we have 15 days left of school. You know, it's like something we could have addressed a long time ago. You know, so if your child's getting bullied, let someone know right away. When I get I'm aware of a bullying situation, it's something I'm going to deal with right away. And Mr. Woodford and Mr. Vito are the same way. Now, there's a couple things I want to talk to you, a difference about bullying and poor choices. Sometimes kids will use bullying as a trigger word for parents or for teachers because they know that's going to get their attention, that's going to get that kid in trouble. Sometimes, though, there's a difference between bullying and poor choices. If a child takes a ball from another kid on a playground once, and it happened at only time, that's not bullying. Kids will call it bullying, but it's not bullying, no, it's just a poor choice. If it happens every day on a daily basis, that's bullying, okay? Also, if something happens, say a kid bumps into another kid in the hall, the kid doesn't like it, comes and talks about it. That's fine. It's not a bullying situation. It was a poor choice or it's an accident. Bullying is something that happens on a daily basis over and over again, and usually there's a imbalance of power, which means the bully has more power than the victim. When I get pulled into those situations, or Mr. Woodford does, what happens is we help to balance out that power. We'll take the side of the victim. We'll let the victim know if it continues that they're going to let us know the bullying will get into more serious trouble, all right, and that it needs to stop right then and there. And if it continues, we expect the victim to come tell us it's continuing so we can address it with the bully. Okay, so we kind of like to balance that power out. But if we don't know about it, we can't balance that power out. We can't help the victims out. So if you're in it, your child's going to say, "But Mom and Dad, please don't tell the school that I'm getting bullied. It's going to make it worse." We've had a lot of situations where kids have come up and said they were being bullied. It doesn't make it worse. We do our best to make it better. We work really, really hard to deal with bullying situations. One more thing I want to talk to you about that. The way the media portrays bullies is as there's like these big kids walking around pounding kids on the head, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 bullies per grade, and that's what bullies are like. Not quite the case. I was a couple of years ago. I went to do a talk in Miss Backus' room because she was having a lot of problems with kids being mean to each other. And she said, and I did a survey. I said, how many of you have been bullied? And about 75% of them raised their hand. They said, how many of you have been bullied by somebody else? 75% raised their hand. So bullies can become bullies and victims depending on the situation. In one situation with one kid, they may be the victim. In another situation with another kid, they may be a bully. Kids don't necessarily have just a bullying label. We don't label kids bullies, but sometimes in certain situations, kids can be moved from bullies to victims. So keep that in mind too. If your child, say you get a call home and your child was bullying someone, we don't see them as the bully. It means that they were in a situation where they're bothering someone else and we're working to rectify. We just want them to be aware, okay? So don't panic, don't think, oh my goodness, my child's a bully. If we need to call, we're just trying to alleviate a situation where everybody's safe. I tell kids all the time, you have a right to come to school just like everybody else and not get picked on. So we want to make sure that happens here at the middle school. The other thing that I want to talk about are, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to come up to me. I could probably talk about bullying for like another hour and a half, but I don't want to keep you here that long. I'll talk to my wife about it tonight when she gets home, so we have 17 guys tonight. The other thing that I want to talk about is student assistance. In the middle school, we have something called our student assistance program. And really what the student assistance program is a gateway for us to get kids more help. A lot of times what will happen is if a teacher or a parent or another student says, hey, I've noticed so-and-so is struggling with this or with that, they may refer them to student assistance. What that means is they're going to fill out a form, and they're going to give it to myself, Mrs. Swansinger, our school counselor, or Mr. Vito, or Mr. Woodford, and it just means that they're concerned. All right. When that happens, the first thing that we always do is we always call home. If you get a call home and we say, hey, your child has been referred to student assistance, we're concerned, and we want to know if we can help, don't be offended. All right. This is our way of reaching out to you to offer you help if you need it. You can easily always say, no, everything's okay. We just had a bad night last night, or the dog ran away from home and he was crying this morning when he got to school. Or, some of those things happen, and that does happen to everybody. They happen to me. Sometimes I come to school and I'm crying because something happened that morning. I got pulled over by the police or something. But that never happens. but if everybody has a bad day. But if we want to read, if your child is referred to student assistance, sometimes people see there's more of an issue going on. Once that you refer to student assistance, we have a trained team that meets together, and we may refer you to, like, say, we have an outpatient clinic that comes in and meets at our school through Vic Stone's office, and then we have counselors that come in and talk to kids. We may refer you to an outside agency if you need more serious help. If you're getting help already through, say, Dr. Massone's office or outside, we are more than happy to work with whatever levels of supports that you or your child needs. Because, like I said, everybody has a right to come to school, and everybody has a right to be safe and happy. We want to make sure your kids are being as successful as they can be when you come here. So if you need it, if you have those additional supports at elementary school or you need them, let us know. But student assistance is just a program that we use to reach out to help kids who we see as maybe struggling. And really, the power, as always, is in your control, and you can say yes or no as whether you want to participate. All right. So that's all I have to say. Next, I think, is the PTSA. Yes. Let me tell you one more thing about this. Will be my third thing. PTSA. I cannot say enough good things about the PTSA in our building. They do wonderful things for our kids. They do wonderful things for our classrooms and our teachers, and they are a super group to belong to. I can't say I've worked in other schools, but I've been in other schools where the PTSA was they didn't do a whole lot. And I know that the elementary schools are very, very active. Here, very, very active. Good group to belong to. Ladies, you want to come up and tell us what's going on? Give a round of applause.
Hi everybody, I'm Lynn. I'm the vice president of the PTSA, and this is Patty. She's our president. Hello. We're actually going through a little bit of a transition this year. This is actually my last PTSA event. My family's transferring out of General McLean. I love it here, so sorry. We'll always be Lancers, but it's going to be, I'm taking a hurt in the kids already. Our PTSA, we run a lot on parent support, and right now we have about 5 women that get together and do most of the stuff. We're hoping to get more parents involved. We added one man. We added a man. Okay, exciting. So we're hoping to get more parents involved. The parents, we ask that you donate items throughout the year. We donate money to our program because if we don't have money, we can't do the things for the kids that we do. And we ask that parents volunteer to do our fun nights that we do and things like that. It's kind of hard when it's only 3 or 4 or 5 of us all doing it the whole year by ourselves. So some of the things that we did just this year was we did a welcome back event for the teachers at the beginning of the school year. We do a summer reading program. The kids that read a certain amount of books, they run a pizza party with the principals. We do a Halloween fun night. Sometimes we do a Christmas fun night. This year that didn't happen, but we ended up doing a St. Patrick's Day fun night, and the kids have a blast, especially the 5th and 6th graders. I do have a current 6th grader here, so we've been where you are. We've raised money for the Cured Foundation. We sponsor booths at the Trail of Treats. We do book fair startup money for both book fairs that we do here. During parent-teacher conferences, we supply the teachers with snacks because they
They've been here all day long,
So
and they don't go home.
individually go to each room and we give them a snack bag. This year we did it 2 ways. We gave them a snack bag and then we did a little buffet for them. So, but the teachers seem to like it and seems to go over well. So we'd like to continue doing that. We also sponsor the cookie receptions for both the choral concerts at Christmas and in the spring. We do an art competition. We don't know what's happening with that this year because our teacher liaison is no longer helping us out, and we're hoping to get a new one in. So we don't know what's going to replace the reflections next year. We donated a basket to the Chinese auction. We arranged for the mini golf tickets for all of the students that were on time and were here every day for PSSAs. We did for Teacher Appreciation Week. We did 5 days of stuff for all the teachers. We had parents donated items. We did highlighters, and we stuffed their boxes. We personally come in and stuffed all the teachers' boxes. And then we personally came in on Friday and we set up a breakfast for all the teachers and staff on Friday. Oh yeah, and we did thank you notes for teachers this year too.
From the kids.
So the kids had to fill them out and put the teacher's name on them, and I hope that they went over well. The teachers seemed to really like them. So we just need more parent help. So if you guys have any questions, we'll be around afterwards. Get a form. It's $7 for the kids to join. They do get a discount at our fair fun nights. It's $3 to get in instead of $5. We only earn $2 of that $7 with PTSA. The $5 goes to the state and to the national level. So for the parents, we ask that the parents just donate your time and money because you don't get anything out of the $7 charge. So instead of taking your $2, we'd rather take your 7 or your 10 because we get more use out of it. Not gonna lie, like I would rather donate, if I didn't have to be a member, I would rather donate my $7 in cash to go buy, a teacher gift instead of only $2. So,
Or to get the DJ at a fun night or what have you.
so if you guys have any questions, we'll be around. We do have a Facebook page too. I don't have it on here. We have it on here.
It's on the back of this sheet here that you may have gotten in the cafeteria. And if you didn't get this sheet and you'd like one, I have more.
So thank you guys and welcome to middle school.
All right, that does conclude our presentation. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. Like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We'll be around all summer, Mr. Vito and myself, as well as our building secretary. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call or stop by. Thank you.